His wife called me and said, "Can I believe you put us in this kind of jeopardy?" Savannah says they'll kill us. You need to pay this money. You need to get it back to them as soon as you can. And of course, I began scurrying everywhere I could get money. I began to scurry to get money. Fortunately, we had some money still coming in to Hispanic American, so we had about $8,000 that came in. So I got that to him. And then from the time that I've worked there, I've made payments of $2,000 a month, down to $1,500, and for the last 3 or 4 months, my payments have been $500 a month. When I got down to about $2,500, I've been paying $500 a month. And I owe him $1,500. Well, yeah, but Savano told me that wasn't acceptable, and tried to really hammer me as hard as he could. And I said, Savano, I can't pay any more money. I mean, I don't have it to pay. So you have to tell them that the system is, everything is slow, and all I can do is what I can do. So I guess he handled it, and now we're down to $1,500, which is the interest. So I see him about once a month. I've seen him a couple times this month because he came by to get collected, and I didn't pay him, and he came by the other day.
What is he driving?
He's got a white Nissan truck, and in fact he has 2 trucks. One's a work truck that he drives that pulls around the equipment for Daryl. Then he's got a Nissan white truck with a green stripe, and then he's got I think he's got a Frontier. I'm not sure. But he normally comes in the old beat-up truck.
Mm-hmm. So he's still involved in the mafia.
Well, I mean, where he's in trouble is he's laundered all this money, because when Homeland Security got me taping like what we're doing, we went over it, how he did it, and he doesn't take it to Atlanta, he sends it to Mexico, he's got an account that he sends it to, and then they pick it up there. So he's in real trouble for money laundering for the mafia. So in that regard, he's connected with the mafia.
Okay. Now, we also talked to you about Patrick Gonzalez, and you know him also.
Yes, sir.
How do you know him?
12 or 13 years ago, probably 12 years ago, when I was doing Mexico, I got robbed. And I got robbed with a gun, beat up, my money taken away. Patrick had worked for me at at Hondaland as a salesman. And while he was working for me, he was teaching classes, and then he was, back then, we call it MMA fighting, but back then it was called cage fighting. But he would go make money on the weekends cage fighting. So when this happened to me, I needed a quick crash course in how to defend myself. And I called him up, and then I started training with him twice a week, private lessons, and I trained for about 2 years. Then he left and went to Costa Rica, I think. And I picked up different training partners, and then I trained with Harfouche up here for a couple years. And when he came back, I don't know, about maybe 3 or 4 years ago, we didn't have any contact with that time. And then he came back and opened up the dojo in Pace. That's the one that Bud lending the money to open. And so when he came back, he wanted me to come out and start training. And he was getting the contract with the Coast Guard, is what he told me, to teach the boarding crews, the guys that actually come down the helicopter and board. They had all kinds of weapon training, but they didn't have close quarter combat. They didn't know how to do gun disarms, knife disarms, baton disarms. And he told me he was getting a contract, and he needed like 3 or 4 people to do it. So I still had Hispanic American. So I went over and I met the guy, and we started training. And the next thing I know, the guy who was a commander from New Orleans, from that section, said there'll be money available in February for this, and we'll use you. And so I thought we had it done. The next thing I know, the dojo that Bud had loaned him the money to open had closed.
But how much money did he loan him?
I think he loaned him $8,000. 6, 7, or 8. And then, and in 2 or 3 months, he closed the dojo. Of course, when he closed the dojo, this commander actually lives in Pace, but he works out of New Orleans. But he just stays over there and works and comes home because he doesn't want his family to live in New Orleans. So when that closed, we didn't get any contract with the Coast Guard. So from that time on, Patrick and I trained twice, I think, at my business, and he would come by. He'd come by the dealership to use the internet, like he was over there working. He was doing private classes, and then he has this big thing about teaching kids abduction awareness. He's got this company that do free seminars. So I've got a computer that prints out. I mean, you can make invitations, you can make this, you can do proposals. So he would come by and get on the computer and do proposals for this group, this group, this group, this group. So I would see him when he came by. Mainly it was to use the computer, to be honest.
When was the last time you saw him?
He came by 2 days ago, and he had just gotten the Seratoma Award. Is that how you say that? Which is
Seratoma.
Seratoma, which he had. Here's the. You could never believe anything Patrick said. I mean, I could never believe what was true. And he kept telling, and they did. I mean, I know they did this deal. So he kept telling me that they were up for the Seratoma. Is that? Seratoma Award. And if they got that, that would open up a whole new thing, you know, it'd give them credentialing. So he came by the dealership and said, okay, I know you don't ever believe it, I'm telling you, but look. And so he pulled it up and showed me that they had gotten the Seratoma Award. So,
why can't you believe anything he says?
because he's just lied he's lied so many times. I mean,
Give us an example.
he would, an example. He said, I'm going to have a contract with the University of West Florida, and it will be teaching the student girls rape awareness and rape defense. But I need help for you to do it. And I said, sure. And he had all this stuff laid out, you know, how much he was going to charge, and it was going to go to the people, and how much money could be made, and it'd be good because we was charging $30 a person. What kind of response they would get, boom, boom, boom. And I said, well, Patrick, this is all good. The problem with this is, how are you going to get the girls' parents' names? The university's not going to give you the parents' names to send out this thing. He actually came in on the computer and created it, you know. You know, he got on the police files how many rapes had occurred in that area that was there, and I mean, it was a real great presentation, and wouldn't it be worth $30? And what we would teach would be very good stuff. I said, that's the problem. He said, I already got it done. He said, all I need is, I don't know, a couple $100 or $100, or just pay for the flyers or something. Well, before he ever went out of the dojo, I loaned him about, he got behind the power bill, so it was about $400. He said, I'm behind the power bill, but I got stuff coming in. Well, he got behind the power bill, I paid the power bill, but he never paid me back. So he wanted me to front this. I said, I'll front this. The only thing I want is, you know, I want proof that we can get these names. Well, after we did all that stuff, so we can get the names.
How long ago was that?
Probably 6 months. That's the kind of, it was like, he does these deals that are these great deals that they never come to pass. And
do you think he ever paid Bud back his money?
I don't think so. If
He told me Bud gave him $5,000 and just gave it to him
okay,
with
well,
no strings attached.
That's not.
No, I know Bud Billings better than that.
That's not true. And I think it was $7,000. Bud Billings never gave anybody anything.
That's a fact.
Let me tell you why I know he didn't give it to him. Because Bud, you know, before I got in trouble with the dealership, I was down there paying off some cars, and Bud said, you know, it's been like a month and a half, and Patrick had anything about my money. Will you find out for me? And it was at the same time we were going to get the contract for the Coast Guard guys. And so I called Patrick. He said, tell Bud that when we get this, I'll have the money to pay when we get